Welcome in. It's Where the 99 Lead. It's a presentation of the University of Pikeville, talking all things regarding the University of Pikeville, academically, athletically, and now a brand new program to the University of Pikeville campus that's a little different than any other we've talked about through the course of Where the 99 Lead. Of course, Where the 99 Lead, those historic 99 steps that lead to campus, and they also lead from campus, changing our world. We're joined today by Jason Belcher, the CEO of the Central Appalachian Institute for Research and Development, hereafter referred to as CARD.
That's
Welcome
right.
in, Jason.
Thanks. It's great to be here. I'm excited to be back home.
Brand new program, and I was very careful to get the title correct. Central Appalachian Institute for Research and Development. We'll find out what that means today. First, let's talk to Jason Belcher. It's a brand new program, happens to be located on the University of Pikeville campus. Jason Belcher, how did you land in an office on the University of Pikeville campus? And with CARD, how did you get here?
Well, I actually grew up here in Pikeville, so this is a nice homecoming for me. I took a little detour for a few years. I spent 4 years at the University of Kentucky, 10 years in the United States Air Force, and then I spent 4 years in the defense contracting industry working for SAIC, that's Science Applications International Corporation. And then I spent a year working at Target's global headquarters in Minneapolis as a senior global intelligence analyst. And I was looking for opportunities to return home actually when I left the service back in 2007. And so I've been keeping my eye on it for a long time. And when this one came up, I saw the advertisement and I knew right away that that's definitely something I'd be interested in. So I actively pursued that just as soon as I saw it. Went through the interview process and got hired on February 20th of this year. And we've been going ever since. So the Institute now is about 2 months old, almost to the day.
How about that? A mountain guy leaves home, wanders all over the world, involved in many different businesses, also in the military, and coming home again. You land with the Central Appalachian Institute for Research and Development, a brand new program. And Jason, what's the history behind it, and how did it get started?
So it's an interesting question. CARD's actually been around for a while. I think it was first brought up in 1960 by Governor Combs.
Sure.
Between then and now, there have been several different attempts to get it off the ground. Those met with varying degrees of success, but never got all the way to the launching point. So recently, we were very fortunate to have some individuals working hard on our behalf. James Hurley, the Vice President of the University of Pikeville, Bill Weinberg, President of Clean Glass, and Brad Park, who's a law student locally. I think they mainly spearheaded the effort. They got the application done to the Appalachian Regional Commission, which is where our funding source comes from.
Sure.
Got the project approved. Then we got started, and they brought me on board back in February. So it's been kind of a long time in coming, but we're very glad to have the Institute up and running now, and I look forward to moving us forward from here.
Many of the programs of the Appalachian Regional Commission during the Johnson era as president of our country, Burt Combs, of course, governor of our Commonwealth during that time, the Mountain Parkway, it got started during that time. This is another one of those programs that we're going to learn more about. This one's been that long coming. Let's see if we can get it off the ground today and find out first, what is CARD and what are its main goals?
Sure. So we are a nonprofit public policy institute. You can think of us as a think tank. That's probably a pretty good description. And our main focus as far as production will be scholarly research to shape and inform the strategic economic development policy for the region. And as you just mentioned, with the founding of the ARC in 1965, at that time there were about 223 economically distressed counties in the region, and today that number is 96. So the development effort has been successful, but unfortunately, of those counties that remain economically distressed, the lion's share of them are right here in eastern Kentucky. And so that is part and parcel of our main mission, is to take that on and try to help alleviate some of that distress by producing new research and partnerships to engage that problem from kind of a new direction and see if we can make some additional progress in getting those numbers down even more.
That number under 100 of distressed counties from the mid-'60s when it was over 200. And of those nearly 100 counties that still remain, how many are in Central Appalachia?
52 in total, of which 48 of the distressed counties are actually in eastern Kentucky. So we do have the majority of them, unfortunately.
Still a way to go, and CARD, that's what it's all about, finding a way to bring those counties to the forefront and beyond the other counties.
Absolutely, and that's one of the topics we're going to be looking at next week at the Eastern Kentucky Leadership Foundation. We'll actually be hosting a session there, and the title of the session is Economically Distressed Counties in Eastern Kentucky, Why Are We Behind? So that's a question that we're going to explore with our panelists there and try to get some more insights into whether we have unique problems in the region or whether states that have other Appalachian counties are doing things differently from a policy perspective than we are, and maybe we can learn something about that.
We're talking with Jason Belcher, CEO of the Central Appalachian Institute for Research and Development. Next week, the East Kentucky Leadership Foundation will ask the question, why are the distressed counties behind? Can you give us a quick shot of why those counties are behind today?
Well, I think there may be a number of factors that are involved in that. If you look at the region of Appalachia writ large, you'll see that over the course of time, the number of distressed counties have dropped off around the periphery. So there's a sense out there that maybe a lot of the development dollars that come into the region are being headed in that direction. So they're being targeted towards the periphery instead of towards the center. So one of the things we'll explore is if we can maybe better target some of those resources towards the center of the region so we can attain the same level of results that you've seen in the outer regions.
The Central Appalachian Institute for Research and Development. Where is the first shot taken of this new program or the renewed program of CARDS?
So we're actually going to be hosting a kickoff conference on May the 14th and 15th here at the University of Pikeville. And we're going to have, right now we have about 30 different institutions and organizations that have signed up to attend that. And the purpose of that meeting is going to be sort of to shape our initial network, which we're going to use to leverage throughout our, not just the foundational year, but also as we go forward through the second year, third year, and even to 5 and 10 year mark. Those research partners are going to be absolutely critical in providing us with the tools and the resources that we need to address not just the question of why are we behind in Eastern Kentucky from a perspective of counties, but also a lot of other different important public policy questions that pertain to the region. So it's going to be a broad-based sort of cross-functional working group that's designed to increase coordination and collaboration of all the really good work that's already being done and make it even better.
Sure. Why is CARD located at the University of Pikeville and not some other institution or in some other city?
I think the primary reason is because we are right in the heart of all of those economically distressed counties. So if you looked at them on a map and put a bullseye in the center, Pikeville will be pretty close to the center, a little bit off, but almost right there, dead in the middle. And also, if you look at the region, what we don't have within this area is a large-scale, comprehensive research university, and I'm talking about on the scale of University of Kentucky or University of Louisville,
Sure.
specifically just located within those borders. So what we hope to do in kind of a virtual sense is to provide the resources that that type of institution would bring to bear on the problems that we're addressing through our network. So it's almost like a virtual university in a sense that we'll be facilitating with our partners. We won't actually see physical buildings or campus the size of UK or U of L, obviously, but we hope to achieve a similar level of results just with our partnerships that we're going to build and leverage out there.
Who are CARD's key partners and why are those partnerships so important?
So many of our key partners include the University of Kentucky, University of Louisville, Morehead State University, Eastern Kentucky University, the Kentucky Community Technical College System, Berea, and of course the University of Pikeville. We hope as we go forward we're going to branch out and include West Virginia, East Tennessee, and also the southwestern portion of Virginia. But right now, the primary focus is on the Eastern Kentucky portion of it, and those institutions that I just mentioned are our main partners. They help us by providing us with the resources that we need to actually accomplish the research agenda. Just at CARD, we don't have the resource or the research infrastructure that we need to address the different kinds of problems that we're looking at. But with those partnerships, we can form new teams and undertake new research projects. And so we can hopefully find answers to the questions like the one we posed at the beginning, not just from our opinion, but also from the credential perspective of some really well-established and professional research organizations that we have available to us.
Out of those research organizations, those educational institutions, what are some of the problems that will be addressed first?
Well, I think the one we mentioned earlier about why are there so many distressed counties will obviously be looked at. But I think also there's an issue of the mechanism for coordination. There's so much really good work that's being done in the development community by state agencies, by the Appalachian Regional Commission, by civic groups, by nonprofits, and by private citizens. And sometimes when those groups are working on their objectives, there tends to be a focus maybe on one locality, and then over here there's a focus on another locality. What we would like to see and what we would like to facilitate is more of a regional perspective for economic development, so we can create some synergy in between and amongst all those other ongoing efforts that are out there. So how can we improve access to education, improving infrastructure, improving entrepreneurial opportunities? So by creating a business incubator, that's one of the things we hope to do in partnership with, in particular, Eastern Kentucky University, is to establish that business incubator, which will provide new opportunities for folks that have ideas for entrepreneurial opportunities that they see that they can market here in this region.
How much has the lack of educational opportunities for students, potential employees in Central Appalachia, how much has that been part of the problem in development?
I think it's a huge part of the problem. If you look at employers that choose to locate their offices, in Cincinnati or in Lexington or in Louisville instead of here in Central Appalachia, an easy reason for them to give you is, well, there's a large pool of educated workers in those urban areas, and that's absent here in Central Appalachia. So getting those numbers up to speed, however we can find the best way to do that, by providing educational access for post-secondary educations or even advanced degrees beyond that, I think will be a huge part of increasing the attractiveness of this region to those employers, so we can attract new businesses to the region, new employers, to provide better job opportunities, and over time just gradually raise up that per capita income out there that's in each county, so we can start alleviating that economic distress that exists today.
Talking to Jason Belcher, CEO of the Central Appalachian Institute for Research and Development, called CARD, and we talk about developing the distressed counties in Central Appalachia. May have been before you arrived in your role, the push for the University of Pikeville to go from a private school to be taken over and become a public university. That was shot down. A compromise was reached, and some feel a compromise that was beneficial to students of these particular counties that we're talking about. An educational opportunity that's affordable for those students that some in Central Kentucky have easier access to. Would that be any part of CARD's goals in the future, is to make a public university in this region a more real possibility?
Well, the main thing I want to emphasize is that as a nonprofit, we are not in the advocacy business either for or against one particular agenda. But I do think that it's the right idea to increase the educational access that students have. So if we can do that best by bringing a new public institution here to Pikeville, then I think we would definitely say that's a good idea. If we can do it best by providing scholarships for those students to attend other ones, I think we would support that as well. The main focus for us is that overall we prepare young people for their future endeavors, and so that they're trained and prepared to go out into the workforce and compete in a global economy. The numbers are pretty clear on this. By 2020, 2/3 of all jobs in the United States are going to require a bachelor's degree just to be eligible. So if you think about that in terms of where we're at today, with our numbers probably in the teens somewhere, we have quite a long ways to go.
You've been in your role as CEO of CARD for 2 months now.
Almost to the day.
Been busy times.
It's been very busy. We've been doing a lot of traveling to go out there and establish those partnerships. I'm not sure how many times I've crisscrossed the state of Kentucky in the last few weeks, but at least 5 or 6 just in the last couple weeks, and that's been great.
You talk about educational partners, the different universities across the Commonwealth as they partner here in the Eastern Kentucky, Central Appalachia region. Any business partners that we can foresee in the future?
Yeah, I don't have any specific businesses to name
Sure.
yet, but that is definitely on our radar screen for future. So once we get the baseline relationships established with those institutions of higher learning that we need, we're absolutely going to start looking at that as a next focused area for us.
Something that we saw in the debate with the University of Pikeville, private school versus public school, we saw some dissension amongst Eastern Kentucky counties, whether they wanted coal severance tax dollars to go to public funding of the University of Pikeville, and there was some dissension there. Has that been part of the problem with development of Central Appalachian counties in the past, is that the counties have fought one another rather than working together as a region?
I think that would make an excellent research question, and I think that's somewhere on our list already of projects that we want to look at. And so I can't answer that at the moment definitively, yes or no, until we have assembled all the evidence and all the data to actually provide a more comprehensive answer. But I think it's very important to think about what the issues that raises. If we do have situations where there are localities working either just for themselves or even against other localities, that is certainly part of our mandate, is to try to convince folks that a regional approach might be more beneficial for their localities. So in fact, maybe the best way to serve a locality is to focus regionally.
Central Appalachian has been known as a clannish group over the course of history. It's the culture of Central Appalachia, and some say that's a negative, some say it's a positive. But as we see counties work against one another or work only for themselves, that's part of that clannish mentality that's come out. I see another interesting research question.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and the cultural aspect is something to be proud of.
Sure.
If you work with entrepreneurs from Europe or from other parts of the world, a lot of times the selling point that they give to investors to locate within their region is their unique culture. It's something that they use to attract folks, and I think that that's something we should consider, because we have a unique culture, we have a unique heritage here in Central Appalachia, and I think if we were to be able to communicate that better to future investors, we might find the same results, that they might be attracted to us because of our unique culture and heritage. They would not be necessarily inhibited by it.
Talking with Jason Belcher, CEO of Central Appalachian Institute for Research and Development, CARD, as we'll call it. And Jason, as you enter your job, you've been here 2 months now, crisscrossing the state, building partnerships with the educational institutions. What's in the game plan for CARD over the next 12 months?
So for the next 12 months, we're going to continue from using our conference as a springboard to build that momentum that we want, to establish our research network and identify our initial research agenda of our top questions that we want to address, to assign owners to each one of those questions, and to get our teams of researchers cracking on coming up with good answers for them. We're also going to be putting together a data resource center, which will be a web-based portal that provides kind of one-stop shopping for information that's out there on Central Appalachia. You know, the volume of literature that's currently in existence on Appalachia is huge, and so to focus that down a little bit more and just have a specific place where you could go to find information just on the central portion of the region, I think will definitely be helpful to policymakers and other researchers out there who may be looking at the same kind of questions that we are. And third, we're also going to start this summer assigning work to our interns that are going to be working at Eastern Kentucky University with also some of the same research questions that we can't get owners for from our other partnerships. So those three lines of effort, the resource network, the data resource center, and our interns, will be primarily taking us through the end of this year. Next year, we're going to look to move on and hire some actual a marketing and development officer, so we'll be growing. And we're also going to look to move just from interns also to actual fellowships. So we'll be bringing in established researchers with terminal degrees, doctorates, or even medical doctorates to do research for us and tackle those problems that we're still looking at.
Jason Belcher, CEO of CARD. What's the plan, say the 5-year plan for CARD?
By the 5-year point, what we would like to have established is that we are well known not only amongst the region but also outside the region as sort of the source of truth on public policy information for the region. And it's very important to us that we be known and that we actually function as an honest broker for the region, so that we don't advocate for or against any particular policy or any particular group, but rather we provide professional and accurate information for everybody, so that the level of public discourse can be raised, and so that we can increase that coordination and that collaboration between all the good development efforts that's already ongoing, and we can create some synergy in the region and actually use that to start making even more progress than has already been made on an economic perspective. Of
course, CARD focused and based in Central Appalachia because of distressed counties that we've identified, under 100 now, down from over 200 back in the 60s. Change is brought on mostly, or a lot of the credit given to the Appalachian Regional Commission. Central Appalachia, the region as it sits, is it that unique to other areas of the country that may have distressed counties?
I think there are some unique factors to the region, geography being one of them. If you've ever driven anywhere on a given day and lost your cell phone signal repeatedly, which it happens to me all the time, happened to me this morning, that's one thing that places in the country that are flat as a pool table like the Midwest don't have to deal with.
Sure.
So we absolutely do have some unique factors, and that also applies to infrastructure. The cost of building roads, the cost of just doing construction work is much more here than it would be elsewhere. So the capital requirements that you would need and the expertise to actually make it work are much higher. And I think that startup cost continues to be an issue that we have to face. So the land absolutely, I think, plays a factor in that. Even though I love the landscape here, it's beautiful,
Sure.
glad to be back home. But from an economic perspective, it does continue to present us with some challenges that just aren't going to go away anytime soon.
Unique challenges that we can't do anything about. How difficult is it for those that have never been to Central Appalachia, the mountainous part of Central Appalachia? How tough is it for those outside the area to realize those differences?
I think it is very difficult because if you look at it only through the lens of what you hear maybe on the news or from popular culture, there's a lot of negative stereotypes that are out there that get perpetuated. Some of which have an element of truth, some of which absolutely
Sure.
do not. So I think there's no substitute for on-site intelligence. So if you want the ground truth, I think there's no better way to get it than actually coming here and seeing it for yourself. And I think that would enable folks to get a perspective of not just the challenges we face, but also look at all the accomplishments that we've already made and how we can build on those. And I think that's something that we would absolutely want to promote at CARD.
Talking with Jason Belcher, CEO, Central Appalachian Institute for Research and Development. Jason, a brand new program, evolving, partnerships being built on a daily basis as you travel the Commonwealth and create those partnerships with educational institutions, business partnerships coming with the organization. If someone wants more information, they just want to find out more about Central Appalachian Institute for Research and Development, what it's all about, what it means, what its goals are, its mission, and maybe forming a partnership. How can they find more information?
I think the fastest way would be to visit our website at www.card-connect.org. That's out there and available to the public, and we also have a section at the back where you can ask questions or submit feedback to us, which we do look at every day. So if you want to contact us, I think that will be the fastest way. And we're also located on the fourth floor of the Public Library building here in Pikeville. So we welcome anyone who just wants to stop by and talk with us. You'd be welcome to come by. Typical office hours, 9 to 5, except, of course, when I'm out crisscrossing the state.
Sure.
But other than that, sure, stop by anytime and either visit us in person or check us out online. That would be the fastest way to get good information about us.
Central Appalachian Institute for Research and Development, CEO Jason Belcher, our guest on Where the 99 Lead. I would imagine your first 2 months have been hectic, busy, exciting, and every day presents new challenges and opportunities.
All of the above, but that's something I'm kind of used to coming from a military background in a Department of Defense's world. There's hardly a day goes by there where there's not at least 3 or 4 crises that you have to deal with. And once you get used to that, you kind of get into a routine. You sort of develop a mindset where you prefer those kind of activities. So you 3 or 4 crises, it seems like for some reason, are easier to deal with than just one. So I guess it suits me very well. But it absolutely has. But it's been great. The feedback we've received from partners has been very good. We've received good feedback from the public as well. So I look forward to continuing to get our name out there so folks can learn, who we are and what we're doing, and partner with us if you can, support us if you want to, or just learn more about us. I think it's terrific.
Jason Belcher, CEO of the Central Appalachian Institute for Research and Development. Welcome back to the mountains.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be back.
Jason Belcher, our guest today on Where the 99 Lead. It's been brought to you by the University of Pikeville. On behalf of Jason Belcher and the University of Pikeville, I'm Andrew Joyce. Good afternoon.